My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, welcome to the first of two long-awaited videos on my channel, my updated skincare routine videos. So this is going to be my morning skincare routine video. What I'm going to do is to go through my current morning skincare routine, and I'm actually not necessarily going to go in chronological order, although I will make it very clear which order I put the products on my face in. Preposition! I will make it very clear throughout the video, and then I'll recap at the end in which order I put the products on my face, because I know that, at least to me, that's a really important part of skincare. But because I sometimes simplify my routine and I sometimes do a more extended routine, it's like an accordion. It can contract and expand according to how much time I have, how dry my skin is feeling, etc. I want to kind of tell you what I always do and then what I sometimes also do. So that's the way that I'm putting the video together. And the other thing that I'm going to do is to not just tell you what I happen to be using right now or what I've settled on as the best product for me in each category, but to also give a couple of more recommendations in each category, and in some cases actually quite a few more recommendations. I want to make sure that I give a good kind of drugstore price option in every category, even if that's not what I'm using. And I also want to kind of let you know if there are high-end skincare products that I've tried in certain categories that might be beyond my budget right now, but that I still think are good products. So it's going to be my skincare routine plus a robust skincare recommendations video. And before we start, I just want to let you know that I have dry skin. I am 34 years old and I am acne prone, so acne is one of my concerns. And I also have redness, like I deal with redness. My face is quite ruddy, especially in the morning, so I'm always looking for things to kind of brighten, lighten my acne scars, brighten and calm my redness. Those are my general concerns. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Sometimes my morning skincare routine consists of one product only. I can't think of the last time that I did nothing to my face in the morning, but there have been several occasions on which I only put one thing on my face. Sometimes it's just one product and then makeup. Sometimes it's just this one product, but I pretty much never go without it, and you've probably guessed by this point that that one product is sunscreen. So if I do nothing else, I put on a sunscreen. And when my friends and family ask me for skincare recommendations and they really, really want a simple routine, like as quick as possible, as minimal as possible, what I recommend to them is a sunscreen that also has nourishing properties, because it's something that will help to hydrate and protect the face, not only from the sun, but also from other kinds of damage. To me, sunscreen is the one and done total essential product. And Joe, whose actions I pretty much cannot control across the board, I can't get him to use most grooming products. He just does what he wants, but he does wear sunscreen. I've convinced him to do that. It's his one face product in the morning, and I'll be telling you both what I use and what he uses. My sunscreen of choice, my ride or die, is the Aaron's Faces Mineral Peptide Sunscreen SPF 30. I was ecstatic when I found this product because to me the most important thing about a sunscreen, of course, apart from it protecting my skin from the sun, is that it be cosmetically elegant. I wanted one that wasn't going to pill or leave a cast or interfere with my primer or feel thick on my skin. I found some that seemed to be fine, but I could really feel them. They were like greasy on my skin. I wanted one that would be kind of serum-like pretty much in terms of how it soaks into my skin and disappears, and that's this. That's the Aaron's Faces one. It is spectacular. On top of that, it has some anti-aging properties. It has peptides in it. So when it's my only product, when I just wear this and then go in with makeup on top, I feel like I'm still helping my skin. I'm putting something that's healthy for my skin on my skin. I'm giving it a little bit of nourishment, a little bit of a leg up on the pile, instead of just putting on like a sunscreen. It feels like a sunscreen hydrator, a sunscreen lotion. It also has aloe in it, and I find that my skin really takes well to that. So for a one and done product, this is fantastic. That's not usually what I do. I usually use more than one product in the morning, but when I only have time to use one product, or if I'm traveling and I just want to take one product with me, I feel good about taking this one because it has all those other ingredients as well, and it feels nice on my skin. So I'm really, really, really excited about this. Also, it's a small woman-owned brand. I mean, you guys know at this point I talk about Erin's Faces a lot because I really love that company and I'm really excited to be able to support them. So Erin's Faces Mineral Peptide Sunscreen, the big bottle, which is this one, it's $50, a lot for me for a skincare product. To buy at one time one skincare product and spend $50, that's a lot for me, but it's 4 ounces. So it breaks down to just a little bit over $10 an ounce. When I found this sunscreen, when I went on my initial search, I was looking for the best mineral sunscreen that had an affordable price per ounce, according to me. That was really the entire search. And that was because I was using a sunscreen that I really did like, that I'll talk about in a minute, but it was $70 for 2 ounces. So it was like exorbitantly expensive, I think, for a sunscreen, and exorbitantly expensive compared to this. So when you really look at how big the bottle is and compare it to the bottle sizes of other sunscreen, the $50 price tag starts to make a lot more sense and seem a lot more reasonable. And they also do sell a smaller bottle of this. I think the bottle's about half the size, and I think it costs closer to $25 or $30. This is what I am calling my runner-up, even though it's a product that doesn't work for me. It is the Australian Gold Mineral Lotion Non-Greasy, and this is what Joe uses. It's an SPF 50, and it's their botanical sunscreen for face. It is much, much more cosmetically elegant than their botanical sunscreen for body, so don't mix them up if you decide to try this out. This costs $15 for 3 ounces. So even price per ounce, it's less than the Erin's Faces sunscreen. This is a price that Joe feels comfortable paying, and he is extremely thrifty. I mean, he is the definition of reluctant to spend on self-care products. So this is Joe's bottle. I pulled it out of the medicine cabinet and he's been using it for a long time. The reason it doesn't work for me is because it's tinted. It's tinted quite sort of a dark tan, and it does sheer out, and everyone in the comments is always like, it sheers out, it works for everyone. It works for everyone except for the very, very, very pale, like extremely pale. And especially me, because my face tends to be darkened by redness. I'm always trying to brighten and lighten the tone of the skin on my face, and this just ever so slightly darkens the tone of the skin on my face. So it doesn't work for me, but if it weren't tinted, it would work for me. Unfortunately, they don't make a non-tinted version of their face sunscreen. Australian Gold doesn't. But I think that those are 2 fantastic all-mineral sunscreens that are cosmetically elegant, both of which, if you're looking at price per ounce, are very affordable, because what it means is that this bottle lasts for like more than half of a year. I mean, you end up paying what to me is a very reasonable amount per year for your sunscreen. I did want to mention the third one, the Perricone MD Photo Brightening Moisturizer. I think that it's called the Vitamin C Ester. They changed the name, but it's still the same product. That's the one that I was using for quite a long time before I realized that the amount that I was spending on sunscreen was completely insane, because it was a 2-ounce jar. I was buying it like every couple of months, and maybe every 2.5 months. And it was in a jar form, so to me that's not as stable, especially for a moisturizer that you're using every day. It was $70 for the 2 ounces. So again, like exorbitantly priced. But that is a gorgeous formula. It's a moisturizer, and it is a very, very elegant formula. I know that some of you have actually gone on to purchase it, even though I now no longer purchase it because it doesn't work with my budget, and you've loved it. So I didn't want to not mention that because I really respect that product. I think it's a stunning product. It just doesn't work for me at my current economic status. But if money were no object, or if my beauty budget were like 5 times what it actually is, I would be tempted to occasionally buy that product and use it because it is so beautiful and my skin really, really loved it. So that's my like high-end recommendation. If you're out there watching and you love to pamper your skin and you are at an economic position where you can spend thousands of dollars a year on your basic skincare routine, if that's you, if that's something you want to be doing, then that's the one that I've used and tried that kind of fits that profile. It's a beautiful product. I will say that I don't wash my face in the morning with anything other than water. When I wake up in the morning, I usually still have the residue of my nighttime skincare on my face. I go to the bathroom, I splash water on it, and it kind of emulsifies and liquefies, and then I pat it dry with a towel, and sometimes I'll give it like a little scrub with a towel. But I don't use any product in the morning to cleanse my face. I just use water. And then if nothing else, I'll use my sunscreen. But we're moving on to product number 2 in my morning routine. I rarely only use sunscreen. What I frequently do is to only use 2 products because I'm frequently feeling rushed. And what the other one is, the other indispensable product is for me is a vitamin C serum. I gravitate towards serums that are suspensions of L-ascorbic acid that are fresh, and they do degrade over time. So it's really important to keep them away from light and air for the most part, and it's also important to use them when they're fresh. So I have sought out a couple of different vitamin C serums that fit that bill. They're packaged in a way where they're sealed really well and they're not going to start degrading, they're not going to start oxidizing, and then I only have one at a time and I use it up over the course of several months, and I try to keep an eye on it and make sure the color is not changing, so I know that it's not oxidizing, that I'm getting like the real deal the whole entire time. So the one that I use, as you know, is the one from Timeless. I mean, you might not know if this is your first time here. So this is the Timeless 20% C and E and ferulic acid serum. It is a very strong, potent, well-made, and kind of cleanly packaged and sealed vitamin C serum. So it's got the good stuff in it, and it's nice and sealed, and it's always fresh if you order it from the actual Timeless website, which is what I do. That's my favorite thing about it, apart from the fact that it is so well priced. So this vitamin C serum, the one that I use that I'm really dedicated to now, is $20 for 1 ounce. And that ounce lasts me probably 4 months, something like 4 months. And what I do is I keep it in the fridge. So it's really sealed from light and air, not just in its bottle, but in my home. Like light doesn't touch it very often. It's just every time we open the fridge, and I only open the bottle just to get the couple drops out every morning. Now, I hope that this isn't confusing, but sunscreen, even though I mentioned it first because it's like my bottom line, sunscreen is always the last step in a morning skincare routine. You don't want to put sunscreen on and then put skincare on top of it, because the skincare has the potential to kind of like mess with that protective layer. You don't want the sunscreen to prevent your good skincare that you're using from soaking into your skin. Sunscreen isn't really meant to be like layered underneath other stuff. It goes over top as a protective layer. So even though I mentioned it first, I don't apply it first. Vitamin C serum, however, to me is the complete opposite, because it's a very potent ingredient-based product, and because it's an ingredient that I really believe in. It's one of the ones that I've chosen to prioritize in my routine. I like to get it onto my face first thing when there's nothing else on my face as a barrier between my skin and the vitamin C serum going into my skin. So I do what I described before. I rinse my face with water, I pat it dry, and then I immediately walk to the fridge, open the fridge, I put 6 to 8 drops in the palm of my hands, and I press them into my skin. That's the first thing that I do almost every day. The exception is just if I'm traveling, really. If I'm traveling, I don't usually take this with me because I like to leave it in my fridge. If I were traveling for weeks and weeks, then I might take it with me and just try to keep it away from light or air on my trip. But as long as the trip is like 4 or 5 days, I would rather just keep this like safe at home in its cold, airless, lightless environment, and then start using it again when I get home. So the occasions on which I use like just sunscreen and get out the door, it's usually because I'm traveling. And then maybe if I'm just like in a huge rush, you know, like at a day at home, I might omit the vitamin C serum, but rarely. I put this on my face, I would say like of the 365 days of the year, probably like 340. days of the year, I'm putting this on my face first thing in the morning as soon as my face is cleansed. So I recommend the Timeless Vitamin C Serum almost across the board. I mean, to me, it's the one, not just for me, but for anyone who's asking, because it is not only my favorite, the most effective vitamin C serum that I've ever tried, but it's also the least expensive. It is the drugstore priced option. And I think it's fantastic. I'm so excited that I was able, through my searching, to find a vitamin C serum that is really well formulated, really high quality, and that has that L-ascorbic acid in its active form, and it's well made enough and sealed well enough that it will stay in its active form the entire time you're using it. And it's only $20 for a 1 ounce bottle. So I think that's pretty amazing. I guess the exception for recommending it would be if someone were asking who had very, very sensitive skin and wanted like a really good vitamin C serum, but didn't want it to be in any way kind of like active feeling on the skin or abrasive on the skin. In that case, I might recommend, if that person were still looking for a drugstore priced option, or at least a slightly better priced option, I might recommend the one from Love, which I did try, and I went, you know, a whole stint of like 3 or 4 months with that one as my vitamin C serum. I also kept it in the fridge. I just found that it didn't feel quite as powerful. And indeed, it does have a lower percentage of vitamin C in it. It is a little bit fancier, like the bottle's a little bit more chic looking. The presentation is a little bit more luxe, and it is a little bit more mild feeling. It smells good, it feels very nourishing, it just feels a little bit more luxe and a little bit more gentle. It's a beautiful product, and it's only around the $30 or $35 mark depending on shipping and if you get a coupon and stuff like that. So it's much more than the one from Timeless, but it is still not a luxury priced vitamin C serum. The third one that we're going to talk about is a luxury price vitamin C serum, and that's the one from Drunk Elephant, the Drunk Elephant C Firma. That's $80 for an ounce. So we're talking $20 for an ounce. The Love one is $30 for an ounce. The C Firma Day Serum from Drunk Elephant is $80 for an ounce. And I found when I was using that product, it was again something that I used and repurchased for a really long time before I cottoned on to the fact that I was spending thousands of dollars a year on skincare and that was really not the life I wanted to live. And then I started seeking alternatives, which is what I'm using now. When I was using it, I found that I went through it though rather quicklier than I do go through a bottle like this. And it's just because the pump is harder to control. So the little bottle, you can use just the 6 drops, and you can stretch it. You could even just use 5 drops and you could stretch it probably to 6 months. But with the pump bottle of C Firma, it never lasted that long for me. It would always be like 3 months or something. I was just constantly repurchasing it. So not only was one bottle way more expensive, like 4 times more expensive than the one from Timeless, but it didn't last as long because I was kind of forced to use more every time. So to me, it kind of falls, I know a lot of people use and love that product, but to me, it kind of falls into the same category as the Perricone MD sunscreen. It's like, if you're out there and you really want to lavish luxury skincare on yourself and you can afford to do that, I think that C Firma Day Serum is a beautiful product. It's a beautiful product. If I got my hands on another bottle of it, I would keep it in the fridge. I didn't used to do that. But even though it's yellow in color by nature, and so it's a little bit harder to tell when it oxidizes, it does darken quite a lot over time. I know that I'm convinced that the bottles that I had darkened over time. I'm convinced that they oxidized over time and by the end weren't as potent, not just because of the color change, but because then when I would get a fresh bottle, I would see my skin kind of brightening and clearing and kind of like reacting positively to it. And I was like, wait, but I've been using this all along. But I think that the potency would fade over time. So I would definitely keep that in the fridge if I had it, even though they claim that the bottle is like light and air safe and all of that garbage. I don't think that it is. But I think keeping in the fridge would probably be a good solution to that problem. So I might recommend the C Firma from Drunk Elephant if money is no object. Maybe the other case in which I might recommend it is if you are someone who wants nice, powerful skincare and you truly want to have the most minimal routine. where you never kind of think about incorporating other things and you don't really have an arsenal where you sort of feel it out, which is what I do. Like I have other things that I sometimes layer in, because just this serum and the sunscreen, as nourishing as the sunscreen is, it's still kind of lightweight. So sometimes those aren't enough, and then I incorporate other products, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if you don't want to deal with any of that, and you do have quite dry skin, and you want sort of more nourishing, potent ingredients, some oils in there, some like protective, really nice layering products, but you want it all in one, and you aren't trying to like budget really hard for skincare, you know, but you're also not going to be buying these other products, so maybe you have a little more room in your skincare budget. I do think that C Firma from Drunk Elephant plus a sunscreen, and having that be like your only skincare for the morning, like that's it, as a super pared down, simplified routine, I do think that that would be a good one. Because the thing about C Firma is that it has some marula oil in it, it has some other stuff in it. It's a more complex, nourishing serum, whereas this is kind of just like a one ingredient shot. I mean, it does have the vitamin E and ferulic acid, which is awesome, but to me, this is really just like directly delivering that vitamin C to my skin, and then I'm incorporating other products if I want that extra nourishment. Drunk Elephant C Firma has that extra nourishment built in. So it just kind of depends. If you're willing to spend the price and you know that you're spending it because you don't want to have to worry about incorporating other products from time to time, it could potentially be worth it to you. So those are the 3 vitamin C serums that I'm familiar with: Timeless, Maylove, and C Firma. And for me, with my budget, with my lifestyle, Timeless is the clear winner. So this morning skincare routine that I've laid out so far: rinsing my face with water, patting it dry with a clean towel, putting on 6 to 8 drops of Timeless, and then once it soaks in, putting on my Aaron's Faces sunscreen. That is what happens a lot of the time. That is what I do a lot of the time. I have been gravitating towards fewer steps in my skincare routine, and there are a lot of days where it's just that. Today, actually, and yesterday. Sometimes it just feels like that's not going to be enough for my skin. I would say about half of the time, it feels like just those 2 products are going to leave my skin feeling a little thirsty throughout the day. If I feel like I just need a little something something, or if I'm kind of in a Zen mode and I feel like I have time and I just am like feeling virtuous and I'm going to go the extra mile, I will incorporate an oil. And the oil goes after the vitamin C serum, as you can probably guess, and before the sunscreen. So we're calling this step frequent addition. I wrote down rinse with water always, sunscreen always, vitamin C serum, which is before sunscreen, always, and then I have a frequent addition, which is oil. I actually called it all-purpose oil in my list, and then I have an occasional addition, which we'll talk about in a minute. I've experimented with a bunch of different kinds of all-purpose oil. I've learned that my skin really loves sea buckthorn oil. So a couple of the all-purpose oils that I have to recommend are sea buckthorn based. I also think that marula oil is a gorgeous oil. It's not super thick depending on where you buy it. It's relatively lightweight pretty much from everywhere, but it's also antibacterial, so it helps keep acne at bay, and I just think that that is a beautiful product. So I have a couple of marula oils to recommend to you. And then I have the Aaron's Faces Tamanu oil as an amazing, thick, sort of sticky, really, really rich all-purpose face oil that I'm going to talk about at the end of my list. That's the only pure Tamanu oil that I've ever tried, and that's definitely for days when I feel like my skin needs a real boost. But all of these oils, a couple of them I have before me, and a couple more I actually don't have before me. All of these oils I consider all-purpose oil. You only need one all-purpose oil. If you're talking about sea buckthorn, marula, Tamanu oil may be an exception because it's so nourishing and specialty. That's one that I would kind of always like to have at my side in addition to like a more neutral all-purpose oil. But I think another good one is like rosehip oil, especially if you have more mature skin. Rosehip oil is also really good for dry skin. And then there are a bunch of different oil blends where there's like one of these ingredients but blended with camellia seed oil or essential oils. All I'm trying to say to you is that it's confusing. Like there's this world of oils out there where it's like this oil, like marula oil, camellia seed oil, blah, blah, blah oil. The way that I make sense of them is that I consider all of them to be all-purpose oil. Unless it's an oil with a targeted ingredient like salicylic acid or retinoid or something where you're like choosing to have, or even vitamin C. I feel like there are some vitamin C's in oil. That's a different story. If you're choosing to have one of your powerhouse ingredients be incorporated into an oil, then that's not an all-purpose oil. That's an oil with a specific purpose. But when it comes to sea buckthorn, marula, tamanu, camellia seed, all of this stuff, that it's just, the purpose is just like general nourishment and hydration and sort of like sealing in other ingredients. They all serve the same purpose. So this is like one category where if I weren't a YouTuber and I wasn't receiving PR, I would only have one all-purpose oil in this category. And I would probably use it up and then like try a different one and use it up and try a different one. But because I'm on YouTube and I've received some of these in PR, I have multiple ones going at once, and then there are also others that I know about that might be the ones that I would buy if I were buying them. This is one that I just started using a couple of weeks ago. It was sent to me. It's from the brand Good Molecules, which is the Beautylicious version of The Ordinary. And it is their ultra hydrating facial oil. I was so excited to try this product because it's sea buckthorn oil and camellia seed oil. And my skin loves sea buckthorn oil. I love sea buckthorn oil, and it is indeed a gorgeous product. It's this beautiful, rich, like yellow color. That beautiful yellow color just makes me want to put it all over my body. I don't know what it is. It's like a saffron colored oil. It's so pretty. So this is a stunning oil, and the bottle has a very low price. It's $10 for this little bottle. However, the bottle is minuscule. It's like a doll house bottle. Like it's like a bottle for ants. What it really is it's 13 milliliters, which is 0.44 fluid ounces. It's a tiny bit less than a half of an ounce. So it's about half of the size of a normal bottle of oil. So really this is a little bit more costly than being $20 an ounce. So that's how you can kind of stack it up against most of the other bottles of oil, most of which are about an ounce. It's still a good price to me for such a high quality oil. I've been stunned by the quality of this product, and I'm not sure this would be like at the top of my list of the ones that I would buy if I were, it might be if I were looking for like a good solid just basic sea buckthorn oil. It would definitely be on the list. It might be one that I kind of like rotated through as my replacement from time to time. It's a really, really pretty product, just a really, really small bottle. So the second one I have on the list, I'm starting with the sea buckthorn oils. The second one I have on the list is the Living Libations Best Skin Ever, and I don't have that with me right here, but I love that oil. And this is the one that I think if I were just repurchasing one all-purpose oil, using it up, repurchasing it, using it up, this one I think is the one that I can, you never know what you would do, right? In like a situation that is not happening to you. So like I can't say for certain without a shadow of a doubt that that's the one, but it's probably the likeliest contender. I really love that oil. So the price, it's different prices for different sizes. Like you can get it in pretty much any size bottle, but I chose to price out the 50 milliliter bottle, which is about 1.5 ounces. So it's a little bit more than 3 times the size of this little one from Good Molecules, and that is $30. So it breaks down to something like $25 an ounce. Weirdly, roughly the same price per ounce as this little tiny bottle, even though it seems like a more expensive product because you're buying a bigger bottle of it and you're spending $30 up front instead of spending $10. They kind of price out to the same thing. So it's a pretty good price for an all-purpose oil. It's still like $20–$25 for an ounce. It's still kind of a lot, especially for me because I love face oil and I really slather on the oil. But the Living Libations one, it might be worth it. If I was like all out of all-purpose face oil tomorrow, I bet I would buy that one. That one does have essential oils in it though, so if you know that your skin is sensitive to essential oils, which some people's skin is, this one doesn't. So this is like an amazing option for a sea buckthorn oil that's more mild. My skin really loves essential oils for some reason, so I really love the one from Living Libations. Okay, here's a third oil that has sea buckthorn in it. This is the Better Oil from Chemist Confessions. And this actually has not only sea buckthorn seed, but blackcurrant oil and rosehip oil. And it also has squalane in it. So this is a really nice all-purpose oil blend that has a lot of sea buckthorn in it, but it also has other things. This is also an amazing company, small, woman-owned, minority-owned. It's a really great company to know about and to support. Their oil is a little bit more expensive. It's $40 for this ounce bottle. So if you're someone who's kind of looking to spend a little more money on a very special bottle of all-purpose oil, and you know that you're not someone who goes through an ounce really quickly, and you can control yourself and only use a couple of drops at a time or a couple of drops a day, and it's really important to you to support small businesses like that. Living Libations, I should say, though, is also a very small business. They fall into that category too. But if this sounds better to you, or if you don't want to be using essential oils on your face, this is a good option. It's a really good oil, really, really pretty product. I think I'm getting a little sick. I'm like feeling, it's like that thing where sickness is coming to me, and Joe is like stuffing me full of zinc pills because he's like a priest in the religious church of taking zinc if you feel like you're getting sick. Like he's like the national representative of zinc. But I think you might be right. Okay, so let's talk about Marula oil. I really like Marula oil. It's a single nut oil, like bottles of Marula oil mostly that we buy. It's just like that's all that's in there. It's just one type of oil, unlike the ones that I was just talking about, which were all blends. So I like Marula oil for the aforementioned reasons. And the one that I would probably buy if I were choosing Marula oil as my all-purpose oil and I were repurchasing it myself again and again would be the one from The Ordinary. It's a great oil. I've tried it. It's a little bit thicker than the other Marula oils I've tried, but it's not like a really hefty oil. It's still a beautiful consistency, and it's $10 for 1 ounce. That is a great choice for a go-to all-purpose, mild, but very nourishing face oil. 2 other Marula oils that I know about. So this Marula oil from Air is fair trade, wild harvested. They are extremely conscientious at Air about the ethics of the way that they source their Marula oil. So they have personal relationships pretty much at every level with the people who harvest and who kind of like press the oil. And that's good to know. Like if that's a concern of yours, if you're looking for, again, kind of a similar situation in which I would recommend the one from Chemist Confessions. Air is a small independent company. It's woman owned, and they are, again, like very ethical and conscientious. So it's the same kind of thing. If you just want like one special bottle of oil and you want it to be Marula and you want it to be like really good quality and feel really good about it, and you know that you're gonna like baby the bottle, then this one, it's also $40 for 1 ounce, but this is one that it kind of like fits the bill of all of those. So that's a really beautiful product, and it is more fine in its physical quality than the one from The Ordinary. It's more lightweight. It's just very luscious. It feels like a luxury oil. Speaking of luxury oil, the third Marula oil with which I have extensive experience is the one from Drunk Elephant, because that's another one that I used to delusionally purchase again and again and again back in the old days when I did not know what I was doing to myself in terms of spending. So that's a luxury Marula oil, luxury face oil. The funny thing about that is that it's still just one oil. Like it's a little bit easier for me to understand a luxury skincare product or a marked up skincare product when it's a sort of a special blend. But, you know, this is just Marula oil, and the one from The Ordinary is just Marula oil, and the one from Drunk Elephant is just Marula oil, but it's $72 for 1 ounce instead of being $10. And, you know, they will say, and I think they do say like on their website and stuff, that it has to do with how conscientiously they source it, how pure it is, like where it comes from, all this stuff. And it definitely does have that kind of fine, lightweight luxury oil feel. It feels a little bit less heavy than the one from The Ordinary. But that's an oil that I probably won't buy again because there are these alternatives available. And then let's touch on Tamanu oil briefly at the end. So this is Erin Space's Tamanu oil for all skin types. It is 100% virgin Tamanu oil, meaning again, it's just like one type of oil in here from the one source, from the one nut. Erin's face is also extremely conscientious about the ethics of sourcing this oil. When Erin was searching for an oil for her extremely sensitive skin in a time period during which her skin was particularly sensitive, acting up, kind of reacting to everything that she put on it, she was searching outside of what she already offered in her brand and searching outside of what she already knew to try to find an ingredient that she hadn't yet tried that would work to help calm and soothe her skin and be moisturizing for her skin that wouldn't make it flare up. And she found tamanu oil, and it was the perfect thing. And so she decided, and I think it's very antibacterial. So on it, it says ideal for all skin types, including troubled skin as well as rashes. And I found it to be amazing for healing. Like, it accelerated the healing of my piercings, and it accelerates the healing of blemishes, and it's just all around a beautiful oil. And I've put this in my all-purpose face oil category because it could be someone's only face oil. Like, if you're looking for, if you have particularly troubled skin, rashy, acne prone, very, very dry, eczema, like if you deal with that kind of thing, and you're looking for an all-purpose face oil that's going to be a powerhouse, then I would recommend the tamanu oil above all of these other ones. The thing about it is that it's very thick. It's so thick that it's almost sticky. It's like a really strong presence. It doesn't stay sticky on the skin, but when you you drop out a couple of drops and then you start pressing it in, it just feels extremely occlusive. And then eventually it will sort of become part of the skin, warm up and blend into the skin. It's not like it's something that you can't layer other things on top of. It doesn't cause trouble in its thickness. It's just that for an oil, it's shockingly robust in its like physical quality. So it's different. Like, it's a different experience from using like a Marula oil or one of these sea buckthorn oils or something like that. So I just want to make that clear because I'm talking about it. But its healing properties are magnificent, and it could definitely work as someone's all-purpose face oil. Whew. Okay, all right, so I gave you the rundown of the all-purpose face oils that I recommend, and hopefully you got some clarity on kind of like which versions of an all-purpose face oil I think are best suited to which situations. When I choose to incorporate an all-purpose face oil into my morning skincare routine, I think I might have already said this, but I sandwich it between my vitamin C serum and my sunscreen. And I usually use just a little bit. So maybe 2 drops, because I don't want my face to sort of be oily. I don't want it to be like sitting on my skin when I go in with the sunscreen and then go in with other products on top of that. So it's always just kind of like this very thin layer on my skin, pressed or on my hands, pressed over my skin, just to provide a little bit more kind of sealing in of the moisture, a little bit more nourishment, a little bit more protection throughout the day. Okay, moving on to the 4th and final step sometimes in my morning skincare routine. It's the one I've called the occasional addition. So this is the thing that I will do if my skin is in a bad way in terms of hydration. If it's really, really quite dry and it's kind of irritated because of that, or if it's really, really red, and if I just feel like I need to baby my skin, if it's a morning when I wish that I could just stay home and mask all day instead of having to face the world, then I will add in this 4th step, which is hydrating essences and or serums. I'll put on the vitamin C serum, I'll let it soak in, and then I'll go in with one of these watery, tonery, serumy, hydrating products. And what I use them for is usually the 7 skin method, which I've talked about in my other skincare routine video. It's all over YouTube. I think everyone kind of knows about it at this point. But basically, I don't just apply it one time. I'll put a little bit, like a dime-sized amount in my palms, and I'll press it into my skin and sort of slap it into my skin until it's all soaked in. And then once it's all soaked in, I'll do that again. And depending on how dry my skin is, I could do it up to like 6 or 7 times. Usually it's like 4 or 5 times for me. That's usually what I do. So I guess what I should say is that my occasional addition to my morning skincare routine, the thing that I sometimes do, is the 7 skin method. Is like patting a product into my skin over and over again to try to really pump it and plump it with hydration if I feel like I need that. It's such a time-consuming step that I am very happy to omit it if I'm not feeling like I need it. But if I need it, if I wake up with suffering skin, then this is what I do. Right now, The one that I'm using most frequently if I decide to do that, and that I have like a huge crush on and always have, I've always loved this product, it's the Makeup Raw Sauce. And this is sort of like a viscous, watery serum that I believe is supposed to have maple water in it, and I think it's supposed to just be like a type of ingredient that holds a lot of water. It's like a molecule that holds a lot of water. So it delivers a lot of hydration into your skin. Similar to hyaluronic acid, I think that the hyaluronic acid molecule is supposed to just like, it's hydrophilic, like it holds a lot of water. And that's what the maple essence in the Makeup Raw Sauce is also purported to do. I don't know science, but I do love applying this with the 7 Skin method. I just feel like it soaks in elegantly and quickly, and I feel like my skin is cool and plump and soft when I pat it in over and over again. For months now, I've been using this, the Hada Labo Gokugen lotion, and it's finally empty. I actually had to pull this out of my empties because it was so close to the bottom, and when this arrived, I was like, I've got to knock out that Hada Labo because otherwise it will always just have like a tiny bit in the bottom. So I went ahead and took care of it by doing the 7 Skin method over the course of a couple of days, and now it's finally empty. But this is so cheap. So the Makeup Raw Sauce is for me, to me, expensive. It's $30 for a 5-ounce bottle. This is just the travel size bottle. This isn't the full size. This one is something like $10, $9 or $10. It's like way less expensive than the full size, but it's smaller. If you buy the full size, the big daddy bottle, then it's a 5-ounce bottle, which is quite a lot, 150 milliliters, but it's $30. And it does last a long time. Like these bottles, like this one, this is pretty much the same size, just a little bit bigger. This is like 5.7 ounces. So, and again, this lasted forever. So spreading those $30, if I got the full size of the Makeup Raw Sauce over, you know, the 5 or 6 months, it would be worth it to me, and that would totally fit into my budget because it's like, you know, $4 or $5 a month, $6 a month or something, like if you spread it out, and that's definitely something that fits into what I've budgeted for my skincare routine. But this is an amazing budget option. The reason I'm mentioning it right on the heels, this one is $11 for almost 6 ounces, so it's just like so budget friendly. I just didn't enjoy using it as much. It's much more viscous than this one, and it just takes longer to pat in, and that makes the whole process of the 7 Skin method take longer. This has a cult following in the skincare community, and it is wonderful, and it has like 3 different sizes of hyaluronic acid. It's really good for your skin. It's a really good hyaluronic serum. It just wasn't my style. I got really sick of it after a while, and I'm really glad it's done, and I'm not going to buy it again. So it's one that I recommend, again, especially if you're like a teenager and you really have very little spending money and you want like a really good hyaluronic acid serum to do the 7 Skin method every morning or every night. That one like is really good. I don't hesitate to recommend it. But I'm like a picky, persnickety 34-year-old with a budget, and I'm not going to buy that one again. Let's talk about other hyaluronic acid serums that I know about. This is the one from Timeless. This was given to me at BeautyCon by the rep at the Timeless booth. This is very cosmetically elegant. I really like this, and I use this for the 7 Skin method, even though it's not a toner or an essence. It is it's a serum, but I find it's actually a little bit more lightweight than the one from Hada Labo, and I love using it when my skin is super dry, layering it and layering it and layering it into my skin. Gorgeous. And I think this is also really well priced. Yeah, it's $10 for, well, this is 1 ounce, but when I looked it up, I found a listing for it online that said it was $10 for a 2-ounce bottle. So they must sell a bigger bottle than this, and I think that bigger bottle is only 2 ounces, which makes this really just like an incredibly affordable, simple serum. I mean, I think a simple, straightforward hyaluronic acid serum is something that shouldn't cost a lot of money and doesn't cost a lot of money, but it is something that can be really good for the 7 Skin method if you have super dry skin and you want to do that method every morning, but you don't want to pay a lot for it. The one from Timeless is really good. The one from Hada Labo is really good. The Ordinary also makes a hyaluronic acid serum. It's $7 for an ounce. I know my sister really likes that one. I find it a bit sticky. Again, I kind of like these watery serums for the 7 Skin method. That one I find a bit sticky, but it's very effective. And I remember that when Ellie started using it, she has very dry skin. a couple of days later, she was like, this has completely transformed. She was like, it's changed the game, it's changed everything. So I know that that one can be really effective. The other type of product I will sometimes use in this step right after my vitamin C serum for the 7 Skin method is a galactomyces essence, or like a yeast essence. So I have almost completely used up this one from CosRx. It's the tone balancing essence from CosRx. It's the one that has those yeasts in it that kind of help with the skin barrier. And the other one I've used is the Misha First Treatment Essence, and that one is supposed to be a dupe for the SK2 essence, which does the same thing. That one is more of a physical dupe. It's very, very watery, and it has the same type of bottle. This is a dupe in terms of what it does, but this is a little bit more viscous of a serum. All three of those are like, you know, yeast essences, galactomyces essences, tone balancing essences. I use that type of product sometimes for the 7 Skin method when my skin is feeling kind of irritated or needs a lot of moisture. But again, these days, because I'm trying to simplify, I'm grouping all of them together. A hyaluronic acid serum, this May Coupe sauce, and this galactomyces essence, they're not the same thing. They don't have the same ingredients, just in the same way that the oils that I was talking about didn't all have the same ingredients. But to me, it's one step. And I think that my recommendation, if you want to have all 4 of these steps, is to just pick one for each category. And I would say of all of these serums and essences, just pick the one, because they all are sort of like nourishing, watery, plumping things. They all go before oil, like after whatever. If you use a vitamin C serum, usually after that, but before oils. And many of the products of this style have hyaluronic acid in them kind of as a vehicle, and then they incorporate something else as well. So having like a totally separate only hyaluronic acid serum starts to kind of seem redundant. You don't need all of these. I have most of these. I guess I purchased these 2 myself a while ago, and they're almost empty. And the other 2 that I have here are because of PR. Let's recap, and let's do it quickly because my battery is about to die. When I am doing the minimum, which I do about half the time, I wake up, I rinse my face with water, I put on my vitamin C serum, and then I put on my sunscreen. And then I put on my makeup a little bit later. When I'm doing the maximum, which is maybe once or twice a week, maybe depending on the season, I wake up, I rinse my face with water, I put on my vitamin C serum, then I go in with one of these nourishing essences, and I pat it into my skin over and over and over again until I feel like my skin is plumped up with it. Then I take a couple of drops of oil and I spread them around, and I press them on top of that plumped up essency face to sort of seal in all of that moisture. And then when that feels like it's settled into my skin, then I go on top of that with my sunscreen. And that, what I just described, that's the morning skincare routine that I would recommend as like a basic morning skincare routine. I think if I did that every day instead of cutting corners half the time, my skin would probably be in better shape than it is. But this is real life, and I'm just telling you that the reality is that a lot of times I just do vitamin C, Aaron's faces, and then that's it. But that's still a pretty simple and easy, even my most expanded accordion of a routine, that's still pretty simple. Like, it's something that I think that a lot of people could handle. It's not scary, and you can pick, I'm gonna link all of the stuff down below, and I'll be really clear and just explicit in the description box about like the steps. And you know what I'll do? I'll link them in order of the steps in the description box. You can go down there and see that as a reference point if my delivering this information out of order of how you put them on your face has been confusing for you. And I hope that it hasn't. I really wanted to do it this way because I wanted to kind of push the information that I'm very intuitive about my skincare, and that I sometimes sort of like add and drop steps according to how I'm feeling that day and how much time I have that day. I felt like that was the most important bit of information that I wanted to relay. So I hope it wasn't too confusing to do it this way. But just to be clear again, I always go in order of like the least viscous to the most viscous. So that's why I go lightweight vitamin C serum, then essences or sort of like hyaluronic acid type serums, oil, and then sunscreen at the end. It's going from like lightest to heaviest. And then lastly, I did just want to quickly mention that there are 2 supplements that I take that I believe help with my skin health. And I feel like I would be remiss in this video. I take them in the morning, so I feel like I'd be remiss in this video if I didn't mention them. So one is a probiotic, and I'll link both of these down below. I take the Renew Life Women's Vaginal Ultimate Flora Probiotic. And I do think that my gut health, which has improved a lot over the past decade because I've done a lot of work to improve my gut health, that has partly been through eating certain things more, not eating certain things, and also trying to kind of repopulate my gut biome with good bacteria. And so I do think that doing that has helped with my skin. It has helped to lessen the amount of acne that I get. But also taking a probiotic like this, especially one that targets vaginal health, it helps with UTIs and yeast infections. So if you struggle with chronic UTIs or recurring yeast infections, then a probiotic is something to consider if you don't already take one. And this one, it has made a difference for me in that realm as well. I really, really like this. And I think that this is kind of a pricey one. I frequently I kind of like keep an eye on it to be on sale at the grocery store, and usually I can get it at a price that breaks down to less than $1 a day. But that is about what I'm paying for like one good probiotic pill a day. And to me, that's totally worth it. And I don't consider it part of my budget. Sorry, I didn't consider supplements to be part of my no-buy, and I don't consider them part of my budget either because I don't have a problem with compulsively purchasing supplements. I've just been consistently buying pretty much the same ones for years and years. So that's one. The other thing that I take is collagen. And I have been taking this, the NeoCell Super Collagen Hair, Skin, Nails, Joints, and Bones for a couple of years now. And I did notice when I started taking it way back when we lived in Michigan that I felt like when I did get a blemish, it would heal faster. I think that taking a collagen supplement has helped my skin to repair itself faster. That's the only measurable difference that I can actually like report. I think that it does help with like plumpness and wrinkles and all of this stuff, but I've been taking it for so long at this point that I can't say that I noticed a huge difference. And in terms of my hair and nails, the thing that makes me notice the biggest difference is diet. If I'm eating good nutrient-dense foods, lots of good proteins and good healthy fats, that is what makes my hair thick and healthy and shiny and my nails really strong and healthy. That is the main thing that has an impact on the health of my hair, skin, and nails, I would probably say, is just eating like robust, nutrient-dense foods, not a lot of processed foods, minimizing sugar, drinking a lot of water, etc., etc. You guys, do what you want with like your food and your health and all of this stuff. But again, I just like diet, whatever, like it's different for everyone. But I do consider these to be like part of my morning skincare routine. So I wanted to mention them and link them for you in this video. And that is it. I hope that this was the one you've all been waiting for. I hope that this was good, that you got all the information that you've been looking for. Of course, it's never simple with me. Wouldn't it have been great if I just been like, here's my morning skincare routine. First, I use the vitamin C serum. Then I use the Make Hoop Bra Sauce. Then I use the sea buckthorn oil, and then I use the Aaron's Faces sunscreen, and that's how you get great skin. Like, wouldn't it have been great if I had just been able to be that simple about it and just told you what I'm using? But it's not like that. I feel like it's more about, it's like teach a man to fish, you know what I mean? Or a woman, or someone in between. Teach that person to fish, and then they'll be able to build their own healthy skincare routine that works with their budget and with their skin for the rest of their life. So that's what I'm trying to do. Let me know if you have questions. This video is one on which I haven't been the best at the comments lately because of my life and my personality, and I'm shy and disorganized. But I will try to be conscientious about this one in case I have been unclear about something and you have specific questions about specific products and stuff like that. But I hope I've covered it all. This is the measure of the picture. That is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, you guys. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself this week and of your little skins so that you can be the most effective version of yourself. as you do your work in the world.